Hi there, welcome to my channel. So today we've got 4 figures to unbox. So it's a special haul video. And these are from different periods, so they're not necessarily all from one month or the other. But I was excited to get to open them and we're gonna get to it. So just before we get to the actual unboxing, I just wanted to show you the different cards I got. So one of my figures I got from Tokyo Otaku Mode, if you can see that there. This one is from Ami Ami, and so are these two as well. Alright, so our first up is from Tokyo Otaku Mode. It's the Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba Tanjiro Kamado Total Concentration 1/8 scale painted figure. The original price in USD with shipping was $232.98. Billion layers of plastic on them. So if we just get a first glimpse of the box here, it looks pretty nice. Again, it's small, so it's relative to the size of the figure, which is great. It has a lot of greens and blacks, which makes sense because that's how the character is colored. I think it looks, I mean, it's pretty typical, but it looks nice nonetheless. It doesn't look too tacky. It's got a display window at the top and at the front and some graphics on the side. Alright, so let's get them out. Not sure how helpful they're going to be, but we'll see. And of course they're not in English either, which is fair. Alright, let me just get this set up. More tape and packaging as usual. This is his main base and body. It's a little bit anxiety inducing taking that off. Alright, so he pretty much comes assembled, as you can see here. He looks pretty interesting so far, I have to say. Alright, let's see if I can get this. Okay. Joy of putting figures together. All right. There we go. All right. So that was a little not too difficult, but it does require a little bit of pushing. So just be careful, I guess, because he's a bit wobbly on there, which is a little bit frightening. But other than that, he seems pretty stable though. He doesn't shake around, so that's a good sign. But yeah, so that's him completed. In terms of the sculpt, I think it looks pretty cool actually, especially his water dragon. His pose is pretty dynamic. His hair's sculpted pretty nicely and it's true to the character, I feel like. His clothes have a lot of movement and creasing, which is realistic to the way he's standing, or sorry, not standing, crouching. In terms of the paint, I think it looks pretty nice, to be honest with you. There's only one flaw that I can see, which is on his button there. But other than that though, it looks pretty good. It's a very stylistic kind of form they've used to paint this, which is supposed to be reminiscent, I think, of the anime and also the manga style of art. So it looks pretty good to me. I'm actually excited to take some close-up shots of this. But I think it's pretty unique in that sense. It's the most unique version of him that I've seen so far, which is the main appeal why I decided to pre-order this one. Touching on the base here, the base is not too bad. It is a little bit underwhelming. There are details to show like what looks to be like grass and soil. I don't know if you can see that. So they made an effort, but it's a little bit underwhelming, to be honest with you. But at the very least, it's something, and it does have give it some texture and a little bit of the an illusion of an environment for the figure, and the size is not terrible, considering the pose of the figure as well as the huge water effect for his attack. So it's not terrible, but it's a little bit underwhelming. So yeah, I think my overall thoughts are that I'm glad to have him in my collection as a unique piece for Demon Slayer. There have been so many Demon Slayer figures, but even though I like the show, I like the manga, I don't necessarily feel I need to collect a lot of it. So I'm glad this piece came out, which is, again, a bit different from most of the ones that are out there. So next up, we have Kai Tsukishima from Haikkyu, the Pop-Up Parade by Orange Rouge in conjunction with Good Smile. So we're gonna go ahead and get him open. So it's not much to say about that. All right, so this is him so far. We're gonna go ahead and get him out of his clamshell. So generic base, pretty underwhelming, not very fun. But yeah, considering that pop-up parades are not as expensive, I can't complain. There he is. I'm gonna take him. Oops, sorry. I'm gonna take him. All right. So pretty simple. It's got a bunch of foot pegs. Just match the foot pegs up. Sometimes I find with the pop-up parades are a little bit stiff, so you need to like finagle them. So there he is. So in terms of his sculpt, it's decent. Again, it's a pop-up parade, so you're not looking, at a formal scale figure. So for what it is and the price point, which was, I believe, he was 4,080 yen before shipping and duties. So again, at that price point, you have to have some realistic expectations, I think, but he doesn't look bad at all. He's got some nice creasing in his clothes. In terms of paint job, it's not bad. It's decent. Not a whole lot of shading to him. He's got some seam lines as well, as I should note, for the sculpt, but it's not too terrible. Again, there's not that much shading in terms of the paint job, but the colors do stick out and they do match the way he appears in the anime. So at least there's that. His shoes are pretty nice and detailed. Wanted to mention too, in terms of his face and the paint job, I think it's pretty well executed. He's got his glasses and this kind of like stern look like he always has in the anime for majority of it. I haven't read the manga, but in terms of the anime, it's pretty spot on. I think overall, this figure is pretty nice. Again, for a pop-up parade, I don't think he's that bad. I've seen much worse pop-up parades. Actually, I have a really bad pop-up parade in my collection. So by comparison, he's really not that bad. So I'm excited to add him, and yeah, I think he's a great addition to the collection, especially when you're trying to collect for a show that maybe you're not as passionate about as others, and you don't want to drop that $150 spend and up. So I think having the pop-up parades is a nice price point, medium, kind of middle of the road option for figures. Next up, we have Nadeshiko Kagimahara. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. I'm really bad at pronouncing these names. By Max Factory and Good Smile. It's another pop-up parade. So again, in terms of the box, it's nothing special. Typical pop-up parade box. Her price was 3,280 yen before duties and shipping. So we'll take a look. Alright, I hate pop-up parade boxes. They're so boring and I don't know. Don't have much to say about it. Again, we have a generic pop-up parade base. I mean, at the very least, I can say it's a really nice pink color with a bit of the kind of frosted surface. Looks kind of nice, but as far as the base goes, it's still pretty generic. So here we have her, pretty simple. Just take her out of the plastic. There is a support pole, but that goes right here. So yeah, there she is. I think as far as the sculpt goes, it's decent for what it is. She's in a dynamic pose where she's kind of running, which is cute, very her. I think the sculpt of her hair is, in my opinion, it's not bad considering it's a pop-up parade. I don't really like how they chunked it up here, but it's not terrible though, as far as a pop-up parade goes. She's got a lot of nice creasing in her clothes to match her movement. Her bag is sculpted really nicely. In terms of the paint, I think the paint job is not bad either. The bag is a little bit wonky, but other than that, everything looks pretty clean. Her hair has a little bit of shading, like very slight. And the seam line for the hair is not bad either. It's pretty well hidden. It's not too terrible. And her shoes are nicely painted as well. It's nice and clean. So there's not too many things wrong with the figure at all. So she's pretty basic. That's how she comes as a pop-up parade. She definitely doesn't look bad at all. I'm pretty glad to have her in my collection. I love her facial expression. It's very cute and very her. And I like how they included the little blush on her cheeks too, which is really cute. So I'm happy to have her in my collection, as I said, and I'm excited that she will be joined by another figure, which is the foot bath version for the Rin, I believe. So I'm excited to unbox that eventually as well and add her on the same shelf as her, side by side. If you are looking to have some figures from Yuru Camp in your collection but don't want to spend horrendous amounts of money, this is not bad. I would say she's worth it. She's worth the bang for your buck. Alright guys, so the last one is a special one which I've saved because it's so special to me. It's a Fate Grand Order Archer Gilgamesh 1/8 scale by Alter. So I'm pretty excited for this. His price was 29,480 yen before duties and shipping. So he was a bit expensive, but I believe he's going to be worth it. I think he's going to be stunning because it's Alter. All right, so let's get to it. So there, I don't know if you can see this, hopefully you can. So this is the box he comes in. It's pretty nice. So it's got his namesake on the front there. It's got a top window. And then it's got graphics on the sides to show you what he looks like. And then the back. And then you've got your generic bottom with all kinds of extra information. So we're gonna go ahead and open him up. I feel like this one's gonna be a little more complex to put together, so let's just see what we're dealing with. Okay, I'm always unpopping these clamshells in case everything just comes spilling out. All right. Like that. I knew that was gonna happen. Oh my god. Okay, he's okay. He's okay. So, alright. So I'll talk about the base since that's what flew out first. so it's a base like this. I guess they made it look like kind of charcoal rock. It's got a nice kind of metallic hue to it, which looks pretty cool. So let's deal with getting them out. Oh my god. Okay, good. There's hardly any setup. I was very concerned when I first saw images of this figure that it was going to be really difficult. So he's got, as well, he's got a spear and another chain piece, which we're going to deal with in a second. Let's try to get him, I guess, on here. So, okay, so we're back. I have them put together. It wasn't too bad. This piece here connects on 2 different parts, so right here, and actually connects right here with a little spike, and there's a divot there. In terms of putting them together, not too bad. I thought it was going to be a lot worse. This support rod does absolutely nothing unless he starts to lean. You could have this support rod, but me personally, I'm not going to bother using it, and I don't want to scratch the underside of his cloak. So in terms of his sculpt, I think he's fantastic. I love all the folds and creases in his cloak that creates so much movement. And even though he's standing, to me it still looks like a pretty dynamic pose. And I love how he's got one arm on his head, and I love how his other arm's sticking out. I love all the chains for his weaponry. It's so much movement, and it just looks really cool. It gives the illusion of, you can just picture him swooshing around, which is pretty awesome. In terms of his paint job, I think it's phenomenal, but then again, it is Alter, so I'm not surprised at all. Just touching on the face in terms of paint job as well, it's really clean. I really love his facial expression as well. They got the eyes bang on, especially with that red iris. He just looks so handsome. Just touching on the base really quickly again, the base is not terrible. They have a really nice metallic sheen on it. I think it does lend a nice environment for the figure. His lines are all clean, his hair is shaded really nicely as well, and so is his cloak. And you can kind of see here. Oh, that didn't sound good, but it's okay. So you can see all the shading in his cloak. Oh, that's okay. He just came off the base a little bit. You just have to be careful with him if you're gonna move him around, but he's pretty stable. He's not too shaky. Yeah, sorry. So his paint job is really nice, really clean. I love the lines on his chest, his gold coloring. That with the cherry red just makes him pop. So I'm excited to have him on my shelf. His weapon, his chain is really nicely painted. You can see the purples and metallic hues on his chain. So I'm very impressed with this figure. I'm always impressed by Alter, but this, I don't know if I would say, I don't have a lot, like all of the figures of Gilgamesh that have ever been made, but out of the ones that I already have in my collection, this is by far the best. This is an example of another Gilgamesh that's currently in my collection as well. Just so that you can see here, this is a Kano fig with Aniplex version of Archer Gilgamesh. So he retailed about $140 in Canadian. I got him from a store called Navito World that's near me. But just so you can see how the two kind of stack up. Mind you, this guy seems a little bit expensive, but you know, that price is including shipping and duties that otherwise I would have had to pay. So he is $140. This guy's a bit more expensive, as you can see, but it's you can at least get a visualization of how they stack up against one another. So for those of you that are thinking, you know, maybe I'm not so comfortable spending, you know, 29,000, 30,000 yen, you might want to go with Config, which may be a bit cheaper depending on where you are, of course. But yeah, so you can see here the difference between two different figures with the same character. This Kano fig is actually quite nice considering that it's non-scaled. It's got a lot of nice shading as well, and that eye-popping red. The detailing on his weapon is also very nice. The paint job's really well executed on this guy. So if you are interested and you're thinking maybe like this guy, he is a good choice. You won't be disappointed. He's got lots of detailing on him. He looks quite nice. The only thing I would say with the Kano fig is that he has these rods because he's supposed to give the illusion that he's floating. Some people don't like that, so if you're not a fan of that, then maybe he's not for you. But yeah, overall, this is another great choice for Gilgamesh. So my overall thoughts are that this is phenomenal. He's stunning, and I'm so excited to get him on my shelf. I think they did a really, really good job with this figure. Alright guys, so if you've stuck around and you're watching this video, I humbly thank you and hope to keep creating new content for the channel and keep showing everybody some more awesome figures. Please feel free to leave comments and questions in the comment section below. And if you enjoy my videos, also feel free, you don't have to, but feel free to give them a like and or subscribe. So thank you for watching, and here's all the figures we reviewed today.